Hey y'all, Coach Paul Melella here, co-author of the book You Have Infinite Power, founder of 1 Degree Coaching. So humbled, grateful that you're here watching this video today. I want to share with you, in the book You Have Infinite Power and in my coaching program, I like to share with you what I call the 10 1 Degree Coaching, what I call IQs, intellectual qualities. What I love about these intellectual qualities is they're not biased. They're free, okay? They don't care if you're male, female, black, white, young, old, what your background is, your faith. It doesn't matter. And the crazy part is that any single one of us, like literally starting today, can choose to tap into any one of these qualities or characteristics. That's what I find so amazing. You know, common people, and I don't want to sound arrogant, but I believe that there's what I call common versus uncommon, all right? And when I think of common, man, I mean, again, I think of 99% of humans, right? Uncommon, you're the 1%er. That freaks a lot of people out, being a 1%er, but most of the people that hire me, they want me 1%ers. And that's kind of who I'm talking to right now. It's funny, I had someone reach out that probably knew me from, I'm not kidding, from high school. And he was like angry. He's like, you know, and it's like, you're not talking, you're not relatable. You know, you're talking maybe to the 1 or 5% of people, and not everyone's gonna relate, not everyone has the intellect. And I was like, I'm not trying to talk to you. You know, when I look at your feed, you're complaining. He's putting up politics. He's got hate. That I know where his focus is. He's not looking to grow. He's scarce. He's not thinking abundantly. Yeah, of course, his way of thinking is what I call stinking thinking. I'm not looking for you. You're not looking to grow. You're looking to be a victim and complain. So no, I'm not looking to attract you. But I want to help you? Hell yeah, I'd love to help you. But you ain't ready. You're not willing yet. Are you able? Hell yeah, you're able. Anyone's able, but you're unwilling to put in the work. You're unwilling to look in the accountability mirror and self-analyze yourself. That's what this is about. This ill shin philosophy that I teach that I learned from my teacher, my mentor, my Susunin, Grandmaster Kim, is teacher of life. It's about being better every day. And every day I'm analyzing myself. I'm setting an intention every morning when I wake up and I meditate. I'm visualizing my next play over the next 12 hours. I'm visualizing the man I need to become over the next 12 months. And I'm literally shifting who I am and who I'm becoming every single day. Every day. That's how you grow. That's how you become better. That's how you become a 1%er, right? You want to have the shit? You better become the man or the woman that you believe is required for you to have that. And that's the 1% thinkers. They're completely uncommon. I went out to dinner last night. My wife's parents are here in Charleston this month. And my mother-in-law is like, you're different. You're weird. You're uncommon. You're not built like everybody. I'm like, damn straight I'm not. I don't want to be average like everybody. I want to be walking around. How many people go around raising their standards all the time? They're not. They're the same. They're comfortable. You know what the scary part? People that are called common, like the person that tried calling me out, knows me from 1992. He's trying to equate me from who I was in 18 and 92. I'm 52 years old. I'm not the same human. I wasn't the same person I was a year ago, let alone 5, 10, 30 something years ago. Why? Because I put in the work. I don't want to be the same. That's embarrassing. Common people, stagnant, same. Uncommon people, you put in the work. Where's it start? Your mindset. I'm telling you, it's your mindset. Everything. And so the uncommon people, they're tapping into these intellectual qualities. And guess what? We all can use them. But some people, you know what they do? They focus in on all the common folks. They base all their decisions on what they see, hear, taste, smell, and touch. Right? Common sense. What they see on what? What they see on their phone, on the news, which is half of it's bullshit anyway. What they hear from their neighbor who's gossiping and talking. maybe what they taste or smell, or it's literally, this is all common people base all their decisions and all their way of thinking like that. But the uncommon people, the 1%ers, they tap into these intellectual qualities. Here's the first one: imagination. Imagination. Now, when you think of the word imagination, what comes to your mind? I don't know about you, but I think of the man Walt Disney. Like, just think about that for a second. He took a black and white mouse and had this imagination. Imagine people told him how stupid he was back then, and look what was established, from this man's mind. Dude, everything that we see around us, these cameras, these devices, these phones that are like when I was a kid, I used to watch the cartoons, the Jetsons. Like, dude, we're living in the Jetsons, except for the flying cars. It's gonna probably happen. There's automatic robot cars already, but like, imagination. But you know what sucks? Not to piss anyone off that's, in the box. When you're in school, they want everyone to conform in the box. Where I was always in trouble because I was thinking and using my imagination. I don't know about if you're watching this, if you're like me, I never conformed to the box. I always thought differently. I used my imagination. Think about the phones, the watches, the planes, the cars, all these devices. This is imagination. They're trying to conform kids to think in the box and do this, but not let them think outside the box. Imagination. In our book, You Have Infinite Power, it's literally a full chapter. Okay, imagination we can tap into, but people want to stifle us. Number 2 is vision. Okay, what do you think about when you hear that word vision? You know what I think about? When I'm working with high performers and I'm studying high achievers, they have a vision out in the future of an outcome, a goal, a target, and know what these people are capable of doing. There's going to be adversity. There's going to be darkness in clouds. I call it the dark side. The Napoleon Hill calls it drifting. Like, there's going to be stuff that come in where you ever drive over a bridge and there's fog, right? And you get the people that just slam on the brakes and they freeze. Like, I can't see what's ahead. So they just pause. What happens is people set these goals, and then adversity comes in like clouds, which, my humble opinion, that's the devil trying to hold us back from our greatness. That's a whole nother video. And get you to drift off your purpose, for you to become the best version of yourself. And what happens is you can't see past the clouds. You can't see past the forest. The ability to have vision, to still see it better than it is on the other side. And here's the play I usually say. Sometimes we get excited and we have this goal, this target, this outcome, this objective, whatever it is. And then I'm going to say it, shit starts happening, right? There's adversity, there's challenges. First of all, if it was easy, everyone would be doing the shit. You want something hard, you got to fight. But know what it is? When we are in the shit and it's not looking good, you know what people do? They see it worse than it is. They literally see it worse, and they future pace it worse than it is. And they have scarcity thinking. And you're telling a story that hasn't even happened yet. The most successful humans that I've studied know and coach, even though there's not going well in the moment, they still train their mind to see it better than it is, to see the outcome manifesting exactly the way they want. You need to have a clear vision no matter what. How many times you get punched in the face, how many times you get held back, you still have to see yourself on the other side, right? That's gotta happen. Here's the third one. Burning desire. Okay, burning desire. Some of you might know who Grant Cardone is. He's a big influencer now, real estate, he's doing some politics, but he has a book called 10X. There's also another one called Obsessed. Like, obsessed. The best producers I coach, literally, they're obsessed. Like, a Michael Jordan was obsessed. They had such a burning desire to win. Derek Jeter, a burning desire to win. It's almost like an obsession that you're thinking about it 24/7. When you have such a burning desire to where you're obsessed, almost like it's crazy, like a drug in a good way, positive. This is something that most people don't tap into. They don't have that burning desire to accomplish that, to become that. It's literally 24/7 obsession. That's what a burning desire is. So I ask yourself, do I have a burning desire? Number four. Number four is confidence. Now, those who are watching me, you may not know, I was bullied as a kid. I was short. Actually, I'm still short. I have no control over my height, okay? So that's one thing I don't have control over. But growing up as a kid, I had zero self-confidence. And plus, I sucked at sports, traditional sports. That's why I did martial arts. And what I will say is there have been times in my life, I know what it's like to have zero self-confidence. And I know what it's like to be overly confident. And then I remember this one year I was training in Taekwondo, and I finally got this level of confidence. It's my last year in the junior nationals, and I was fighting this one other guy, and I'm in the ring, and I'm overly confident, almost like a arrogant, not respectful type fighter. It's like some of those wide receivers you see in the NFL, they're not like team players that don't have good attitudes, and some of the referees and judges, they probably just didn't like my energy, and it came to a draw, and my hand wasn't raised. And because I was overly cocky and confident, it lost me a spot on the junior national team to go to world championships. And I regret that. I worked so hard to become confident, but I went over the top, too arrogant and not humble. What I believe confidence is sexy. I really do. I believe our spouse or the people that we're intimate with, having confidence is attractive. And in sales, that confidence, conviction, and certainty could overpower someone else's doubt. So you got to be confident in business. But when we go over the top and it spills over, we're arrogant, now we piss people off. So there's got to be a way where you can become confident and humble, right? Confident and humble at the same time. And I can't decide that for you. You need to find that happy medium for you. Okay, so I know what it's like on both spectrums, where I was not confident and I just sucked at things. I worked so hard to get confident. I got arrogant and cocky, and it lost me a national championship, a spot on the USA team. And then I also know what it's like to be overly arrogant and cocky in business, and it probably lost me business. And then God humbles you. And then I found my balance. And then I'm more relatable for most people that are attractive to what I want to help them with. So where's your confident level? Okay. Here's number 5, passion. Now, I know you're watching this video, but I like to think when I'm on the phone and I'm teaching, I'm coaching, or you ever see me live at an event, I like to think I'm a passionate person. I ask my coaching clients, I'm like, are you passionate when you're doing your open talk, or when you're meeting a prospect or a client, or you're sharing your process or your products or your whatever it is that you do in service? Are you passionate? I'm going to share this with you. Tony Robbins taught me this a long time ago. Selling, because I'm going to assume we all have to sell at some way, shape, or form. I hate to say it, right? We all have to sell. All selling is a transference of energy and passion from you to another person. That's it. Okay? So number 5 is passion. Boom. So I'm going to go back, and now I'm going to go to number 6. Optimism. I don't know about you, man, but optimism for me was really hard. It was really hard. I love my mom. She's awesome. But everything was fear-based. If we're in a plane, it's going to crash. If we're in a car, we're getting in an accident. It's like everything was like a black cloud. Like it was all based out of fear. And I think, she was doing the best she can with the resources she had. She wants the best for us. But like most people are just literally finding the negative. They're not optimistic. This is one of the hardest things I had to work on, is being optimistic, especially when shit comes in and it's not working your way, right? When you have obstacles and challenges, it's going to happen. That's life, right? Especially if you're in sales or in business, you're going to get punched in the face. You're going to get no's. You're going to get lapses in cases, but you got to be optimistic. Remember I said earlier, you have to see it better than it is. I share this story with clients, and let's frame it out, right? Let's just say in the financial services, they call this, like, depending on they have these levels, right? Call it president's council producer and a leaders club producer, but let's use a different language. It's like, a six-figure income earner with a millionaire, or a millionaire with a billionaire. Let's say there's one level and a higher level. Let's frame it however you want. Millionaire and billionaire. The millionaire looks at the billionaire and is like, how'd you do it? How'd you do it? How'd you get here and stay here? And the billionaire looks at the millionaire and he goes, you see, let's make believe over there is an island. And on the island is everything that you want. It's the house, the business, the life, the family, the body, whatever it is, right? Everything, what you want is on that island. But we're over here. And in between us and that island, which has everything that you desire and you want, is a body of water, unless, I don't know, alligators and sharks are in there, which symbolize what? Obstacles, okay? What you do, millionaire or six-figure income earner, or whatever you want to use, what you do is you focus on how you're going to navigate past all the alligators and sharks. So you're focusing on the problem. What I do, I'm already visualizing myself on the other side. I'm already there. Like, he sees the outcome and he's optimistic about it no matter what. That's not easy to do. I mean, that's a skill, a hard practice. And for me, that was really hard. Here's number 7. Commitment. Okay, commitment. My Susunim, Grandmaster Kim, Susunim means teacher of life. He would say to me, he goes, you want to know why you fail? Like, he's Korean, so I use the little Korean voice. Forgive me, sir. You want to know why you fail? Why, sir? You're not Jip Joon. Jipjoon. You're not Jip Joon. Sir, what does Jip Joon mean? All in. All in. You ever hear the story? I think it's General Cortez. It's like the Aztec Empire, right? Mexico, whatever it is. And here it is. And I might kibosh this for a minute, but they got all their ships and they land on the whatever it's now Mexico or the Aztec Empire. And the General Cortez looks to all his other soldiers and his people in charge. He goes, burn all the boats. They're like, sir, you heard me, burn the boats. Sir, if we burn the boats, we can't go home. Exactly. We are either gonna conquer this Aztec Empire, leave on their ships with all their riches and all their whatever it is, or we're gonna die doing it. Damn! That's called Jip Joon. Jip Joon. Now, all from my New Yorker Italians, I grew up watching these mafia movies, the movie called The Bronx Tale, back in the 90s. There's a scene. There's these bikers that roll up in the Little Italy in this classy restaurant bar, and these bikers come in, and it's kind of like they're a little scared that these bikers aren't fitting into the Italian Little Italy area, right? Very classy at that time, right? The movie's taking place in like the 50s or 60s, and they're starting being disrespectful, and then throwing beer at the bartender and stuff. And so the main character, Sonny, asked them to leave. They're like, F you, you leave, and we're not leaving, and they're being tough guys. So all of a sudden, all the Italian mafia dudes, shut the door and they lock it and turn on the shades. He said, we asked you nicely to leave. And then they go, now you just can't leave. And they beat the crap out of them. That's called all in, right? You better be fully committed. You make a decision, you burn the boats. There's no other option at all. You're Jip Joon. That's full commitment. That's full send, okay? Next one, persistence, okay? I don't know, when I think of this, it's just consistency. Persistent consistency. I think of Rocky Balboa. You ever see the first Rocky Balboa? He's fighting Apollo Creed. And, he's outclassed. Apollo's the main guy. He's jacked, he's shredded, he's the champ, but Rocky Balboa is not going to win. It's like the last round, and he just keeps on getting back up. And there's this one scene, the scene at the end of the movie. Apollo's got his hands up, bouncing, and Rocky gets back up. He's like, come on, come on, come on. And Apollo's like, you saw Rocky Balboa stole his soul. Ripped his soul out. It's like, and he just wouldn't stop. The constant pounding like water, relentless consistency. in business and in whatever you decide and you do, and you're just persistent and consistent, and maybe in your habits and your discipline and your food and your workouts, the persistent person will always win. You will always win, I promise you. Think of Thomas Edison 10,000 times, right? The Wright brothers, they had no other social proof. Roger Bannister, the 4-minute mile. And what happens is they never quit. They never gave up, okay? And number 9 is discipline. And I say this a lot. Everyone's like, oh, Coach Paul, you're so disciplined. Man, everyone's disciplined. Everyone. You hear me in other videos say this. Everyone's got habits. Some people drink water. Some people drink soda. Some people meal prep and measure out their macros, and some people eat fast food. Some people wake up early and meditate and put deposits and read scripture and go for walks, and some people sleep in late and put on the news, trash. Man, everyone's got habits. Everyone's got disciplines. What I would challenge you is you should do an audit on yourself. You know what you should be doing? You should analyze every aspect of your life, or every aspect of the 86,400 seconds that God blesses you with 168 hours in a week. Are you putting deposits, disciplined deposits, I call them, disciplined deposits into your areas that are most important to you? Or do you got leaks everywhere? And here's what I'll say is this: results don't lie. You show me your calendar and I will predict your results. I guarantee it. I'll predict it. So you have to make a decision to just add some new habits into your life. I have a client, and her name is Vanessa. I love Vanessa. She watches this video. I coached her for several years. She's a financial advisor, but she was like, "Yo, Coach, I wanna lose 15 pounds." I said, "Have you ever done that before?" She said, "No, Coach, I haven't done that my whole life." I said, "All right, cool." I said, "I got to start simple." I said, "Vanessa, what I'd like you to do is, can you drink 80 ounces of water?" She goes, "Yeah, Coach, I can do that." And just run that play every day, 80 ounces of water. I go, "Can you walk for 30 minutes a day?" "Yeah, Coach, I can do that." "Cool, just walk 30 minutes a day." I go, "Vanessa, you think you can just eat under 2,000 calories? I don't care, not to get, micro, and just under 2,000 calories. "Yeah, Coach, I could do that." I go, "Just run that play. Just to start with those 3 simple daily discipline habits." Month goes by, "Coach, I'm down 5 pounds. 2 months goes by, "Coach, I'm down 10 pounds. By the first quarter, "Coach, I'm down 15 pounds. This is easy now. All right, let's add 2 more action steps. Let's raise your standard. Hey, Coach, I think I want to redo my goal to 30 pounds. Let's go." Just daily discipline habits. 1 degree shifts that just was easy for her to meet. She boosted up confidence, ran my play, and got results. Last one is living through what I call a worthy ideal. Now, you may not know what a worthy ideal is, but I reference Napoleon Hill a lot, right? Napoleon Hill had a student named Earl Nightingale, and Earl Nightingale trained a guy named Bob Proctor, and I trained under Bob Proctor. It's kind of a cool lineage, right? I was a disciple under Bob Proctor. Bob Proctor was a disciple under Earl Nightingale. Earl Nightingale was a disciple under Napoleon Hill, who wrote the book Think and Grow Rich. So this word, worthy ideal, I didn't make up. It came from Earl Nightingale. Bob Proctor taught it to me, and I got permission to use the word. But Earl Nightingale said, success is that, there's a quote, is the progressive realization of a worthy ideal. Now listen, I'm not here to say what success means. That's for you to decide. I'm not a coach that goes, this is success. You define what success is for you. But here's what I will say. I love that quote. Success is the progressive. Think of the word progressive. It's ongoing. It never ends. Realization. You have these experiences, these experiences that in your personal professional life that helps you grow and see things from a different perspective. A worthy ideal. Here's what I will say. A worthy ideal gets you up in the morning, keeps you up at night. Sometimes you're getting paid for it. Sometimes you're not getting paid for it. It's bigger than you. Hopefully it leaves a life legacy, and it should be to serve for the betterment of the good and tied into your what? Your profession, your career, your life legacy. Not every human lives through a worthy ideal. They're ego-based, they're goal-based. And I'm going to say this, goals come and goals go. Once you hit a goal, you're going to go, what's next? What's next? What's next? Unfortunately, especially for high performers, it will never fulfill you. You know what is fulfilling? Aligning your life with a worthy ideal. If you want to know more about these intellectual qualities, and more importantly, you want to define or investigate what your worthy ideal is, text me 843-345-5132. We'll jump on a call. I'll give you 2 free discovery calls. I'll get to know who you are, what you're about, what your goals are, what you have clarity in your life, but more importantly, start challenging you on what a worthy ideal is, and let's define what your worthy ideal is, and more importantly, let's tap into some of these intellectual qualities so you can be uncommon and become a 1 degree person that becomes a 1%er. Be better every day.